stock portfolio, a 401k, all those things, and we apply those to digital assets, and we do that in a regulated way over there at Digital Wealth Partners and at Digital Ascension Group at scale. So on that, it's probably a good time for my disclaimer. Nothing here is financial advice. It's only for entertainment and educational purposes. You should always speak with an attorney, a CPA, or a financial advisor before making any tax, legal, or financial decisions. The opinions shared here tonight are my opinions. They are not the opinions of Digital Ascension Group or Digital Wealth Partners. So we'll get into the macro a little bit, and then we'll jump into the questions. Markets are down a little bit right now, not a whole lot, still trending sideways when it comes to the crypto market. XRP hanging out at 132, 133. I haven't looked at Bitcoin. I am following the XRP Bitcoin chart though, and that's looking really good. That's looking like it's at the very end of its consolidation here in a very long wedge, and I would expect that XRP should break out against Bitcoin in the not too distant future if I was a betting man. And I am, because now I have another bet with scams. For the end of the year, $750 XRP again. And like I said on Monday night, I do believe I'm going to win the bet, but the premise of that bet is to make sure that people that have lost XRP to scams get their XRP back. That's what I'm looking to do. So, just like Polymarket, people can bet on timing and price and events. Very similar to what I'm doing with him. Some people like it, some people don't like it. That's okay either way. For me, I know I'm helping people out, and that's what matters on my side. So that's where things are at on the charts. As far as the macro goes, we're still hanging out at the top end of the range on the yen versus the USD. Around 159 is what I saw earlier today. It may have fallen a little bit more. They have been shorting oil, is what it looks like the Bank of Japan chose to do. We have seen a little rise this evening, back up to 159.26, which is a big jump from where it was earlier this evening. If we do continue to see that trend push higher, I think once we get pretty close to 161, 162, the Bank of Japan will have to intervene at that point. And if they're already starting to short oil in a way to be able to push down the inflation there in their economy, and if they're on the wrong side of that, if they're wrong-footed, when a short squeeze happens on oil, they're going to be in an even worse spot than what they are now. Yeah, at the open here, we just saw oil jump again from 15.5 all the way up to 16.6, 16,600 yen per barrel. That's a fairly good sized little jump here, continuing to trend towards 17,000, 18,000 yen per barrel, which is where we saw it at the top end of when it ran up that Sunday when they shut down the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't look like the strategic supply that Japan has and what they're putting on the market is slowing this down at all. I don't expect that it will. I think the damage is already done, and it's just a ticking time bomb until they're forced to raise interest rates there in Japan. Will they be able to hold that off till the meeting this month? Maybe. Maybe it happens sooner than that. Some other big news today. Ripple came out and they are providing their full scope treasury product for large enterprises and institutions that want treasury management of XRP and ROUSD and other liquidity instruments. That in correlation with Ripple Prime, they're able to then margin assets and provide liquidity real time and generate returns 24/7, 365 if it's all on crypto rails. So big deal going on there. You also have the Australian Financial Authority coming out and saying that anybody that's an exchange there in Australia or a qualified custodian will have to have their financial license here in the next 6 months. They have 6 months in order to be able to get that in place. We've talked to a couple different groups there in Australia here recently, and so that will affect them, and they will have to get licensed in order to continue to provide their services. So look out for that. And then we saw, I don't know if this is a rumor or not, but it sure would be fitting. Apparently Iran is saying that they're going to charge people for going through the Strait of Hormuz, and they're only willing to take payment in the Chinese yuan or cryptocurrency. If they're going to take Tether and Bitcoin, that could be cause for the US government to sanction those networks. That would be, again, it wouldn't be unprecedented. We've seen the US sanction another network before. They did that with Tornado Cash, so it's there, it could be done, but that would be a wild scenario if the US decided to sanction either Tether's network or Bitcoin's network. I don't know that they'll do Bitcoin. I mean, Trump's son, and many people that he's involved with are pretty involved with Bitcoin mining. But Tether, there's Howard Lutnick and all the people, Bo Hines. Again, they've issued USAT, which is a U.S. compliant stablecoin that's in compliance with the Genius Act, and USDT, their original Tether, is not in compliance. They are going through an audit and they're doing some other stuff. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, sure would be interesting if that was the catalyst for them to sanction Tether. Which actually, that whole premise came from Neil, who's a developer at Ripple. I was going back and forth with him on Twitter one day, him and Scams. This is probably 2-3 years ago. And it was actually after I put out the domino theory. So it had to have been back in like May of 2024 that he explained that. Because I thought, Tether would depeg was what the original thesis for the domino theory was when the reverse carry trade unwound. But if the US government were to sanction Tether, which is what they stated was much more likely than Tether depegging, that would also cause a liquidity crisis and people divesting from Tether very quickly in order to alleviate the concerns that they might have by being associated with that network. And then they would need another liquidity source, demand for XRP, and all the things that many people here are hoping for. So that's where we sit on the macro side of things. Still just waiting for Japan to move here. It doesn't look like the Fed's going to, and somebody's got to blink. I think it's going to be Japan. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into the questions here. Again, appreciate you guys taking time out of your Wednesday. Please like, subscribe, share if you're getting value from this, and we'll go ahead and jump into it. We got Jesus is Lord. Great name. He says, yo, please do a pod with Apex Crypto Insights. You and he would love it. God bless. I'm game. I always like to do podcasts with other like-minded people in the space, go back and forth, share thoughts. I always like to learn from other people. We're on Cashew Nate, we're on Paul Barron, we're on Versana Vandel's, Black Swan Crypto. There's a lot of other good influencers in the space that are extremely intelligent and share good information. And if you're not following those guys, highly recommend go check out their channels. Again, like I say all the time, I'm just one source of information. You should watch many sources to come up with your own thesis and making investment decisions. Again, consulting with a financial advisor would probably be ideal to make sure you're doing the right things.